Welcome, everybody, to the second installment of Old Hat Review Reviews. I think I'm sticking with that name. It's silly and dumb, and I love it. This is Andrew here, in my unscripted, everyday, regular speaking voice without all the cheesy filters. Anyway, just as I cover news stories from exactly 100 years ago in my main videos, I figured it'd be interesting to watch a movie from 100 years ago as well, paint a fuller picture of the times, immerse myself a little bit more. Last month, for the first time I tried doing this, it was the Douglas Fairbanks movie The Black Pirate. This month, it will be For Heaven's Sake, a comedy film released in April of 1926, that's 100 years ago. This will be pretty much the same idea as last month. I have not seen this movie before, nor am I in any way a qualified film critic, so we're going to go on this little adventure together. I won't talk through the whole thing, I promise, but if you don't want to hear my commentary, I've linked the full movie free online in the description. It's all public domain. Have at it. Also, I don't think it will be a problem in this one, but boy, have I been wrong before. And since I'm going in blind, I'll just say there could be some problematic depictions of people and cultures here. I don't feel the need to point them out every time they come by, but know that it's wrong now, it was wrong then. It's important to acknowledge it, but I'm not going to cut them out, so you've been warned. And one last thing before we start, since it's no longer prohibition, I like to enhance my cinema experience with a nice adult beverage. Today's drink, if you care to join me, will be an old-fashioned. Last month, I decided to make it thematic and have a dark and stormy with the Pirates movie, but that was immediately way too much pressure to keep up as a bit for every single time I want to do this, and also I don't have that many ingredients on hand, so I'm drinking an old-fashioned. I guess you could say it's because I'm watching an old-fashioned movie, but really it's because, I don't have enough ingredients to make any cool cocktails right now. It's just muddled sugar, bitters, whiskey. If I had a cherry or an orange peel, I'd throw it in there, but I don't, so I'm going without. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get this going. This is For Heaven's Sake. So while we're getting these pre-credits going, I think this was the team that restored it and maybe added the soundtrack. I think it was done by UCLA. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'll give you a little bit of background info on it. Oh, it was the UCLA. Nice. It was directed by Sam Taylor and starring Harold Lloyd, and I think Harold Lloyd also produced it as well, and Jobina Ralston. It was the 12th highest grossing film of the entire silent era, earning a whopping $2,600,000, which translated into today's money must be a lot. I don't know. And just like last month, I found some film review articles in news stories published at the time this movie came out. So at the end, I've got some newspaper articles just going over what the public thought of the movie during its release. So that's always fun. Anyway, here's the overture. Harold Lloyd in For Heaven's Sake. I won't narrate all the title cards, I promise, just a couple. That little shooting star was cute. Produced by Harold Lloyd Corporation. And I think it was with Paramount. Yeah, there it is. It was with Paramount as well. And this was the first time Harold Lloyd had worked with Paramount. The Uptown Boy, the Downtown Girl. It's going to be a Romeo and Juliet sort of deal, isn't it? I'm feeling it right now. Every city has its two districts. Uptown, where the people are cursed with money, and downtown, where they are cursed without. love how active all of these old silent movie sets are. There's so much depth to them. People doing stuff in the background. It's not just blurred and faded out. What billiard balls have the numbers written out on them in English? What a curious thing to say. Oh, that's classic. The coffee cup with the chip cut out of the corner. Oh no, that was a cool transition there. That was really well thought out, really well done. Changing from downtown to uptown, with the chipped coffee cup to the prim and proper teacup. I loved that. Artful. Oh, and there he is, Harold Lloyd, in his signature glasses. That little cat in the road bit was kind of cute. So Harold Lloyd's his signature glasses there are a prop. They're fake. There's no lenses in them. Doesn't need them to see at all. But the story goes, and I don't have a primary source for this, I will admit. Producer Hal Roach told him that he was too handsome, too good looking for straight up comedy, and he needed a gimmick. So, you can have a bowler hat and a mustache, or you can have those big old glasses. I guess the bowler hat and the mustache was already taken. Must be nice to roll into an auto dealership, pay with a check, and drive it out of the showroom. Good way to lose some hearing in one of your ears. Those hubcaps just come off like that? I had no idea. Okay, now that was a pretty cool shot. I wonder how much it cost to rent a steam engine in Hollywood in 1926. And I wonder how much that car would be worth today if it wasn't, destroyed leaning up against a telephone pole like that. If anyone knows what kind of car that is, let me know. I'd be curious about that. Must be nice being wealthy. Just how they go around the world. Waste bin basketball's been a thing for a while, I guess. Not bad, I guess. The spaghetti joint. Well, it's what I'm calling Olive Garden from now on. But what a sentence. So tough he wouldn't eat ladyfingers unless they had brass knuckles. How incredibly evocative. I love that. When someone does a fake 1920s transatlantic accent and starts throwing in the cat's pajamas and the bee's knees and all that, and you think they're laying it on a little thick, well, there's proof that that was actually how people talked, at least how movie writers talked back then. Wouldn't eat a ladyfinger unless I had a brass knuckle. That was a lovely sequence. I do love just a good and oblivious main character. Oh no. To the almighty checkbook to make things right. Why do I get a weirdly guys and dolls vibe from this movie? There's, the pretty young woman who's working with the mission, proselytizing on the street, the good word. And then, well, I guess this guy's not a gambler, but he fits the part well enough. Definitely gonna get, turned over to the mission side or something like that. It's, they gotta have a moral from 1926. I'm getting like a weirdly guys and dolls kind of plot vibe from this movie. I should have had a Cuba Libre as my drink. I think that's a plot point in Guys and Dolls. Ugh. Some of my musical theater friends would be so disappointed in me for not knowing that. I didn't expect them to use ass, although I don't know if it was ever considered too heavy of profanity, but seeing it printed on screen kinda shook me up a little bit. Wasn't expecting that. Can't have your name associated with godly acts, now can ya? You know, that there's some comedy bits I'm finding pretty charming in this movie. Paying the newspaper boy to destroy all of his newspapers. It's kinda cute. You meddling loafer, you low-down upstart. And what a meddling loafer he is. And the love theme plays in the background. Anxious to tell you what she thinks of you. And boy, didn't she. You! Yes, I'm an expert lip reader. Thank you very much. Must be very important if they wasted 2 entire title cards on how uninterested he is. No interest at all, he says, twice. Love it. Love that guy. I hope we see more of him. So Harold Lloyd did, from what I can tell, pretty much all of his own stunts, pretty much every time, which is made all the more impressive because he has prosthetic fingers on one of his hands, because he was given a bomb prop one time, which turned out to be not entirely a prop. When he used it to light his own cigarette, he was holding a bomb in his hand and it went off, and it blew off, I think, his thumb and his first finger. So he's wearing prosthetics or gloves in every shot in every movie he made after 1919, which includes this one, and still just as dexterous as he was before, catching the picture frame falling off the wall, twirling his cane around. It's impressive to see. It was something that I think he hid for pretty much his entire career. He didn't want people to know too much about it, and covered it up as best he could, used prosthetics, used gloves. But I only find it all the more interesting and impressive, because man, does he still ever have comedy chops. This is delightful to watch. There's some excellent facial acting going on there. What was that, a smashed perfume bottle? Oh, so this guy ate the perfume, the makeup bag. Now he's gonna eat part of a sponge. Mr. Manners, where are your manners? Oh yes, very polite, very good. Love your cooking, thank you very much. Bravo! Oh yes, no thank you. I've had quite enough. Using a magic trick, some sleight of hand to get an old sponge out of your mouth? Clever. Admirable, I like it. Big old batting of the eyelashes. It's the hat guy. Oh. I hope he had a great day with that hat. I hope they had, like, the parking garage guys from Ferris Bueller with a Ferrari. I hope he had one of those kinds of days with it. I really am actually enjoying the comedy of this movie. Not that I was discounting it before we started, but this is excellent. This is a lot of fun. Making all sorts of friends. There's some Looney Tunes stuff going on here. Okay, I want to know more about the truck that has a hand on it. What kind of cargo were they carrying? Was that a hand used for advertising or unloading or something? Is that a thing that people would have recognized as a normal thing, a truck with a hand on it? Oh, don't go stomping on that guy's hat, man, that's rude. That other guy took such good care of your hat, and you're gonna go stomp on this one? I don't know, I'm liking this manners guy less and less. Oh, and that's the Back to the Future gang, right? From from Three Pines or whatever that town is. This is, between the 1890s and the 1950s. So I'm saying this movie's in the Back to the Future universe, and those are those guys that always get the dung dumped on them. You heard it here first. For heaven's sake, part of the Back to the Future cinematic universe. That was a fun little bit too, taking the taxi just to get ahead of the angry crowd so you can lead them around again. This whole sequence is a lot of fun. So even after having that disfiguring accident where he lost his fingers, he's still willing to hold prop bombs. Impressive. That's dedication to his craft. I find pretty admirable. No one ever said Harold Lloyd wasn't a consummate professional. There's some furious violin playing going on in this chase scene music. Nix the cops. That was just such a fun sequence, that whole chase bit. Oh, and they're actually playing the little hymn there. That's nice. That cop has a lot of eyeshadow on. Oh, and Karl Marx is there. And the trombone comes in the background when the police officer starts singing. This is another excellent sequence. Somebody's pinched me watch. Oh, what, so everyone there has contraband? Oh man, yeah, everyone there has contraband. Of course they do. Don't you just hate it when you leave the house with your pocket watch clipped to the back of your collar dangling around behind you, and you spend the whole day and you don't even notice, and nobody points it out to you until halfway through your workday? Happens to me all the time, man, all the time. Well, you got greedy. It's what you get for getting greedy. It's a one-man crime wave. I'll say he's a regular guy. See, all of these title cards are so much more fun when you read them in your head in a transatlantic accent. With that Bugs Bunny voice going. Ah, the percussionists are just having a field day with this one. I'm really enjoying the music played throughout this and how closely it melds into the scene itself. It's gonna be a tough season for Satan. I didn't get a good look at that sheet music, but I wonder if this is the hymn playing in the background. What was it called? Onward, Christian Soldiers. That looks like it could be. Now I do wonder what's up with the planet Saturn in the background of all of these title cards. Very clearly, the restored version we're watching right now is a couple different rolls of film spliced together from the restoration team. You can tell from the different colors and hues and qualities of the film that come on. That's why it's changing colors. Is it Daniel and his lions? Pretty good animal act. With Cupid lurking ominously. You never know when little baby Cupid's gonna make you fall in love. I see ads like that, just like that, in that art style, in every newspaper I read, putting my other videos together. And I love it. I love that art style. A nice crisp black and white. And argue it out back at the club. That's a well thought out plan right there. I do like that they're portraying the quote unquote lower class society people here with all of the redeeming characteristics. They're artistic, they're go-getters, they're charming and witty and fun. Hearts of gold, each and every one of them. Unlike these high society hooligans, I don't know, kidnapping a guy who's in love. Go get him, boys. Go get him. Oh man, just drop him right off the balcony there. I guess he's alright. Well, there's a funeral march right there. Cute little telephone ring on the glockenspiel. Well, I suppose that's as good a reason as any to be late to a wedding. little dizzy with excitement, he says. Perhaps. For my first wedding, what a wild thing to say. What an absolutely wild thing to say. Gotham Farms. So is this movie, in addition to the Back to the Future cinematic universe, also in the DC universe? I don't know, one of those rich families in the country club, the Waynes. Okay, what's going on with that? I do have some questions about the trapdoor in the middle of the street. Was this a normal and expected thing 100 years ago to have, I guess, like a freight elevator or something like that? Boy, have I ever had some nights out with my friends that have felt like this. Okay, now that's a killer top hat right there. Alright, so the third or fourth time they've used that bit, it loses its effectiveness just a touch. But you know, this part's kind of funny. It is cool seeing them film on a moving trolley. That's just a cool design for a double-decker bus. I'm sure wildly unsafe, as demonstrated there. But the little spiral staircase exposed at the back. I don't know, there is a certain charm you get for design elements when you don't have to worry about, you know, life and limb. Okay, that's pretty impressive. This whole sequence is pretty fun, too. I am a sucker for a good chase scene. I guess it's not really a chase scene, well, aside from when they had the police officer there. You better step on it, Al. You know, I think it was my March newspaper video that I made. I had a ton of trouble finding public domain footage of double-decker buses for one of the stories that I was doing about people on the second story of double-decker buses being peeping toms and looking through windows. Any sequence in this movie would have been perfect for that. Oh, I could have pillaged this whole scene. Oh, Oh, not a banana peel. That is the oldest trick in the book. The classicest of all the classic slapstick bits. It's like they're playing Mario Kart now. That was a cool shot. So many of these old silent movies they're just full of excellent framing and shots like that. Well, when you're relying so much more on the visual aspect of the storytelling as opposed to the cemetery. Oh my gosh, yeah. Visual bits like that just mean so much more when you can't really have spoken dialogue to carry the film. Everything but go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. So I guess it was a chase scene. The City Dog Pound. Naturally. It is a charming gang of ruffians, though, isn't it? The reception committee, naturally. The end. Bravo. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. The Moravian Philharmonic Orchestra. Interesting. I thought this movie was a ton of fun. A lot of that slapstick humor still really holds up. Really holds up. I have a couple fun facts that I found doing just a bit of cursory research about this movie. That scene at the end, the bus scene, it looks so authentic because it was. That was a real bus. Those were real city streets dangling from the side, flipping themselves over, slipping on the banana peels. Many of the stunts in these movies are all entirely done in real life. I mean, cinematic real life. Many of these stunts in these movies are done in real life with the actual actors doing their own stunts. And when you see them on the screen, man, it can be really, really, really impressive. I know Buster Keaton was very famous for doing his own stunts. And actually, one of the reasons that Harold Lloyd isn't quite as well known as Chaplin and Keaton and the very few actors that people still know by name as household names from this era. Even though Harold Lloyd was one of the highest, if not the highest, I think, paid actor in Hollywood for most of the 20s, the highest paid actor. He's known today for just a handful of comedies, but not too much in the wider public consciousness. And that's because he retained the rights to all of his material and wouldn't let them be re-aired on television or re-released in theaters without charging exorbitant amounts of money. And, Keaton and Chaplin, they were rerunning all of their movies all the time, and it just gave it that much more staying power. Which is too bad. What we did this evening right now was me kind of discovering Harold Lloyd. I don't think I've ever seen a full movie of his. He's done The Freshman, Safety Last. He's that guy from that really famous shot that you might have seen before from a very clearly 1920s silent era movie. It was The Safety Last was the flick. And it's him dangling from a clock face over a busy city street. That's Harold Lloyd. And I had seen that picture before. There's a couple other pictures of him from famous scenes or famous stunts that he's done that I've clocked and recognized as something that I've seen before, but I never really watched any of his movies. This was, I think, to the best of my knowledge, the first I've ever actually seen him on screen, and wow, it's delightful. His acting is, most of the time, cool and collected, especially in the very first half of this movie when he's just playing the oblivious guy that lucks into everything. He pulls that off real well, and the slightly flustered, herding cats character he turns into in the second half, managing the chaos of that gang of hooligans he's with. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. The movie's not terribly deep. I like that they're not really shoving too many of their morals down your throat. Sure, it's for a mission or whatever, for the betterment of the neighborhood drunks at the pool bar. But honestly, that's just the setting of it for the most part. It is mostly just a fun, silly, slapstick cast of characters doing some fun, silly little slapstick bits, and there were a handful of moments that I laughed out loud during this movie. So now on to the contemporary newspaper articles that I found, the newspaper reviews from 1926. I'll see if I can throw them up on screen here. But the Washington Evening Star, just another fun fact about this movie that I found when I was looking through these newspapers, said that it broke records for the cinema in Los Angeles, Charlotte, North Carolina, Kansas City, San Francisco, Toronto, Rock Mountain, North Carolina, Denver, Boston, and other cities. So like I said, it was one of the top 12 top grossing movies of the silent era, if that's what I said at the top. Whatever I said at the top was true. I was reading my notes then. So yeah, it was doing real well the week that it came out from the Indianapolis Times. Now, they said, a fine hag picture full of good comedy situations and more plot than most other Harold Lloyd films. Evidently, I guess his other films don't quite have as much substance to them. None of the stunts in this movie were memorable, but the movie as a whole was, and I might tend to disagree with that, just particularly for the double-decker bus scene at the end. I think that was pretty memorable. And the Indianapolis Times goes on to say, a good Lloyd comedy done along modern lines. And boy, doesn't that movie just scream modern to you. Everything about it. From the missions in the cities to the slipping on the banana peels to the trolleys rolling down the streets. Super modern. Anyway, and I'm poking some fun at it. The San Antonio Light had a big old article published about this. With some pictures of the cast and Lloyd and everything. They complimented Lloyd's ability as a comedian to promote laughter, which again, I would say I chuckled a couple times. They did have this interesting quote, an assortment of funny gags that should make a wooden Indian laugh. And I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but it's probably distasteful. Man, and I sure do encounter a lot of that as I'm reading through these newspapers looking for the articles for my main videos. I do all my research myself, just sitting on the couch looking through old newspaper articles and looking through the newspaper reviews for the movies that I've been doing recently. There's a lot of reading an article and coming across a sentence and thinking, wow, that's a horrible, awful thing to say. Or, wow, I'm pretty sure that's a slur, but one that fell out of favor decades ago and doesn't even have any meaning anymore. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's offensive. Which is always a interesting aspect of putting these videos together. Anyway, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent about my research process. Let me know what you thought of For Heaven's Sake in the comments below. I would love to talk more about this movie, but I don't think anyone I know in real life has seen this movie before. So please, give me someone to talk about this movie with. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the movie. I hope you enjoyed my silly shenanigans and my dumb commentary. I like talking and hearing the sound of my own voice, if you couldn't tell. Thanks for watching this movie with me. I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day. And until next time, this is Andrew. Thanks for watching the Old Hat Review Reviews.